All right, we are live. Welcome. Take it away.
Oh
Yeah.
well, I guess we'll all do our intros. I'm Dan
We're,
Tabor from Fandom Spotlite, Falker, and Synapse.co, and I'm joined on this illustrious panel by
Me.
you are.
Just kidding. You guys have seen me before. I'm Yali Perez. I work here at Fandom Spotlight as your content curator. So I come up with the content that you guys, take in. I also do social media stuff. So if you enjoyed today's meme, you're welcome. That was all me. I thought it was pretty funny. Yeah, and I also, do the quizzes that you guys sometimes pass or don't pass. Yeah, so I'm the one you kind of interact with on for the most part. And besides, we have a very, very, very special guest who also has beautiful eyes. I don't know if that's an inappropriate thing to
oh, well,
say.
thank you. That was so nice of you to say. Oh, well, I don't think I'm a special guest. I'm just Captain Kyle
Just kind
from Fandom
of
Spotlight. So, yeah. But, yeah, I'm going to turn down my volume too because apparently I'm blasting out everybody's ears.
Yep.
May is yelling at me. Yes, I'm Captain Kyle from Phantom Spotlight. I'm doing tech today, so Dan and Yali will be running this, and we do have an amazing guest, and I'm going to drown in those eyes too, so it's going to be great. Um, Master Daniel Pesina, one of the influential people, one of the people who helped develop the original Mortal Kombat game. Tell us more about your awesomeness, man, because you are awesome.
My awesomeness is because you guys are awesome. Because yeah, I was I was just a geek helping out another geek with a game that yeah. Luckily, we didn't really have like upper management paying attention to us, so we got to do whatever we wanted to do, and they were really surprised when the game started showing itself.
Right.
Yeah.
Got
Yeah,
lucky.
yeah. I was a kid in 1992, and I spent so much money on that game. Like I was in the arcades religiously, and you played both my mains, Sub Zero and Scorpion. So I was like, those are my dudes. So that's it definitely hit me in the right place. I was definitely in that sort of like vein growing up. I was in the arcades constantly playing those games. So what was everybody else's entry into Mortal Kombat? Like, Yali, Kyle.
Well, I think I'm a generation behind everyone else. I'm a millennial, and I'm not ashamed to say it. So my
Nothing wrong with that.
experience has been like, no, no one be mean to millennials. Yeah, no, I remember playing it on like Sega Genesis and just like the standard handheld ones. And I remember we could only play it at my cousin's house, who was a little bit older than me, because it was the whole thing. It's like, oh, kids are playing Mortal Kombat and they're making them violent and they're telling them to the hoodlums and whatnot. So it was like we had to sneak over and play. And I used to always say if they played as, no offense to you, Master Pesina, but if they played as Scorpion or Sub Zero, they were cheating. That means that they didn't have any skill.
Well, what are you saying about me? Those are my mains.
This is my generation. So it seemed more credible if you could play as the other characters and win. But doesn't mean that they weren't the coolest ones. It just seems like it was easier for them to beat everyone else up. So
See, in my day, if you were using Liu Kang, you were cheating because he would do the yeah across the.
See,
Yeah,
the generational divide.
I played Shinobi. I was really good at that game. I could throw like throwing stars and whip out my sword really fast, and that was before Mortal Kombat and such games. But yeah, then Street Fighter came out, which was great, and then I saw Mortal Kombat, which was just a step so much above, and the fatalities and stuff. But I generally got my ass kicked in that game, so I am not a gamer. Um, I would yell at my friends for using special powers on me because I didn't really know all the moves to do them. But I've loved Mortal Kombat, and I've actually really appreciated the movies. The first movie with Christopher Lambert, the Highlander, as Raiden. And then they changed it to James. What was his last name? He was just in like Black Lightning.
All I remember him from is Sex in the City. He was like dating Samantha for a while. So that's all I
I saw
remember
the
him
second
from.
one in a dollar theater. I saw the first one opening night, and I saw the second one in a dollar theater in like Harrisburg.
That works because the second one was not very good.
It wasn't.
I like the second one.
It was a movie, and then of course there's the new one. And I have also known Daniel for years, and I was not aware of his integral part of the development of the game until, I really got to speak with him. That was at Lock City Comic Con in Connecticut, and we got to hang out, and he made me look really good with my brother too, because he's like, oh yeah, my brother's like, this celebrity over here knows my brother, what's going on? So that was great. So I really am very appreciative of you, Daniel, 100%. You are a gentleman and a warrior.
Yeah, it was.
I also hope to gain some credit with my brother for being with Daniel Pesina today.
Yeah, all those days I remember. With before Mortal Kombat, I used to play Street Fighter a little bit. I was more into like Galagun, Defender, Centipede, things like that. But I just came from an event, and we were just talking about back in the day when we had to play the arcade, how the big thing was people playing with a towel over their hands so you couldn't steal their secret move.
Oh yeah.
You remember that? That was like, just recalling that, that's like, man, isn't that a crazy time for you to like, where they throw something over their hands so you couldn't watch the way they played. It was like really made a difference.
I'm going to show my age here. Like I used to play in the arcades Mortal Kombat all the time, and we used to like print out the moves and we'd like sell them to people and like trade them around because, you had to know how to do like each fighter's special moves and how to do the fatalities. And they didn't make it super easy to learn that stuff. So if you found it online or you found somebody that knew it, you'd like type it out and you'd like sell it at the arcades, or you'd like keep it in your back pocket. So if you went to fight somebody, you could be able to do the fatality on them. And it was just like, and then eventually they came out with the guides. I remember the guides came out and they were a big deal. But yeah, I was one of those kids that would spend like my entire Saturday in the arcades. Just, you put your quarter on, you wait for the next person to come up, they put their quarter on. Now, Daniel, one thing I want to ask is, what was that whole like the almost like the blowback on the games, like the parents and stuff? What was that like from your point of view? Because I've never heard that, and I'm really interested to hear what you guys thought from Midway as being involved with the game. What was like for you? Because effectively it brought on this whole violence and video games and all that stuff basically because of Mortal Kombat.
Well, too, one thing is I didn't actually work for Midway. I did the game as a favor to Tobias, who was like, oh, we're going to do the small game and I need help.
Yeah.
So when all this controversy came out, it was like John and Ed would call me up and say, hey, we can't say anything because we work for the company, but you can make interviews and tell these people that, this is just a game. It's just fun.
Yeah.
It's entertainment. At that time, Roadrunner was more violent, or, we borrowed ideas from Indiana Jones, which was already out there, or Predator, so we've got our ideas for the game, that the stuff we created, but also from that time period. So all that violent stuff was already out there. I think, looking back at it, it was just, they just wanted to have somebody to blame.
Yeah.
Yeah. But, back in those days, if, you knew you couldn't hit your brother or sister or your cousins or anybody you played with because you'd get in trouble. Really back then, grounding was really, really harsh. Now they're like, oh, I'm going to take away your social media for a day. And you're like, dude, that's only one day.
But that is harsh.
Yeah.
That is really harsh. I don't mean to interrupt, but we got some blowing up going on here in the chat room. Well, blowing up for us. Alex Bonafonte said exercise back in 92 was biking an hour every afternoon to a mom and pop video shop that had the only machine in town to play Mortal Kombat.
Yep. Or pizza joints. Pizza joints were another one too.
Laundromat. I have stories of kids in laundromats. One kid told me, now he's not a kid anymore, he's an adult, but he's like, I saw Mortal Kombat and my mom's doing laundry and I'm playing Mortal Kombat, and all of a sudden, bam, I get hit in the head. And she's like, why are you playing that violent game? And he's like thinking like, I just got hit across the head. But, I got it for playing Mortal Kombat. So it's kind of funny.
We got a few more things. Pyromania says the movie was okay, but a little overrated. We'll be talking about the movie soon, I imagine.
Yeah.
Stuart Keelak says, love the movie. My friend went to see it. He said it was like the video game, and he loves the actors in it. Pyromania said they did choose the best actor for Sub-Zero. Alex Bonafonte said, good or bad, the movies are cheesy fun. Trying to make them serious is futile. Which I would tend to agree. Great movie overall. And Alex also said that poor coyote, talking about that poor guy.
He should have quit when he the first 8 times it didn't work out, but he was committed. He was very committed.
Definitely, he should be committed to. Then he won't hurt himself anymore.
Exactly.
Yeah, sometimes you get tired of that anvil landing on your head.
Choices.
I just got my second shot, so that's what I felt like yesterday.
So, speaking of the film, would love to hear how everyone felt. I know I have some words. I wrote them down. They're going to seem crazy to everyone but me.
I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, I guess I'll go first. We had did like a roundup of everyone's most anticipated film of 2021. This one was mine. I am the gamer of the group. I love Mortal Kombat. I loved all the original films. I love the YouTube series they had where they kind of expanded on Sub-Zero and Scorpion's back history together. So I remember the show that would come on after wrestling. There was a Mortal Kombat series. Like, I just love Mortal Kombat, so I was really excited to see this. And I kept watching, and I kept waiting for them to Mortal Kombat so much. I was like, are we going to Mortal Kombat anytime soon? We're not combating. Yeah, I guess they were like really relying on like people liking this enough that we would just, no one would notice we're not doing the Mortal Kombat. Like right now, it's not. It's just for namesake.
It's not the tournament.
It's not a tournament. I did enjoy the fact that they made Kano less rapey, and more racist and comedic.
Although I liked his Gandalf joke. His Gandalf joke was hilarious.
One or the other. So he was like the comedy for the film.
Kano wins.
Yeah, he did the Kano win thing. I didn't like Jax's chappy arms at first.
Yep, those were weird.
It's like, why does he have chappy arms? That doesn't make any sense to me. And then he'd be like, came cyborg afterwards. I was like, okay, a lot's happening right now, and I don't know if this fits the movie. I thought the entire cast was really good looking. I was like, well, this is a beautiful group of people, which the original films had a beautiful group of people, so they really stuck with making sure everyone was, good looking. But I think the film relied too heavily on the fact that they were like, we're getting a sequel, so if we don't do it all now, we'll just do it later. We'll just get to it later. There was a lot of scenes of like saying we don't have time, but then we're like eating dinner, and you're like, we really don't have time. We only have so many days, but then we're like just chit chatting. I'm like, so do we have time or we don't have time? And then the rules about the elder gods, like interfering or not interfering. It's like, it looks like they've been interfering for a minute or two or not interfering for a minute or two. And then just as a parent, that baby was conveniently quiet and then non-conveniently quiet. I was like, whatever that baby they did to that baby, I would love to know, because it's so hard to get a baby to be quiet, and this baby was just conveniently quiet when it needed to be. So overall, I thought the movie was good. It wasn't great. I think that they want us to be hopeful and be like, look, trust us that we're going to give you everything you were looking for in the next one. Like, this is just the setup. And I also thought it was confusing, like if Cole's daughter was his daughter or like his stepdaughter. Because I was like, if she's his daughter, why doesn't she have a mark? But then they never brought it up. So there was a lot of open questions and not enough answers. But my favorite line is he's about to get his soul sucked. That became a meme so fast. Like in the first 15 minutes the film was out, I seen like 100 memes about getting your soul sucked, and it was beautiful. So I love the internet for that. But yeah, I think it's a good film. It wasn't what I thought it was going to be. As someone who like knows Mortal Kombat in and out, who's seen every variation of it, I was like, this is not what I wanted. So yeah, feel free to join in. And I trademark Chappy Arms. Just so
Chappy Arms. That's the friendship axe of this one.
Yes,
Chappy
the friendship
Arms.
axe.
Alex quickly wants to know. He'll be the first to ask, knowing the likely answer. But Daniel, can you really do the nut punch?
I actually, when I didn't want to do the nut punch because I knew how much work it was. But Tobias was like, "Come on, I'll buy you a pizza tonight, an extra large pizza." He knows me, and I was like, "Ooh, extra large," and I was like, "Okay, I can do that." But I wound up like doing the split slowly, like at least 50, 60 times. So if I warm up, sure, but not right off the bat anymore. Before I was like, yeah, but you're younger. You can slide right into it, Now the game's done. So, yes.
All right. Well, I hope that answers your question, Alex. Now, I do understand, Daniel, you saw this in like a theater with a bunch of fans. That must have been an experience. And they paid you to watch it. They paid you to watch this movie.
Wow.
Yeah, and I would watch it anyway, just because I love everything Mortal Kombat. Being one of the creative forces in it. Everything Mortal Kombat is really cool to me. Though I am jealous that in the first Mortal Kombat, Christopher Lambert acted like my brother. I am always jealous of that. He, the Highlander guy, shows the character that he helped co-create. But as far as for me, not to sound too pompous or stuck on myself like Johnny Cage, but anybody who acts like me is okay in my book. So the Sub-Zero or the Scorpion or the Johnny Cage are all really cool, because I had a heavy hand in helping to collaborate and create those characters. So that's always cool. But when I like the first fight scene. I have a few points, nothing too over the top, because it is Mortal Kombat. It's hard not to be not Mortal Kombat. I wasn't happy that the non-Asians could not fight. I think they were too they had no skill. Like they had a kick and they had like punching like this, but it was like the Scorpion, Sub-Zero. Everybody else has all these cool kung fu moves except for the people from Earthrealm. I was like, oh my God, there's no way they're going to be able to learn Kung Fu in time. It's not like Neo, you could plug them in and I learned Kung Fu. It's not really like that. Your body has to go through training. Even though your brain could understand what's going on, your body has to train for fighting. So they're going to put these guys who don't know how to fight against a bunch of guys who know how to fight. It seems that they kind of missed a little bit like that. And I thought, I'm gonna agree with Yali. I thought they should have spent some time maybe doing that, showing them training, or showing them not just just interacting in like a casual way. There was no. They could have. After all, it's a fighting movie.
Yeah.
So if you show more of that type of thing, like, oh, we're training like this, but even when they get beat up, if they could have put up a fight, as opposed to just being totally wiped out until they got their superpower. Like, if you have a superpower, like...
What did you think of that? The fact that they were, like, superpowers. Like, they had to, like, get superpowers to fight. I mean, that was...
Yeah, that was just not... I didn't think that was, like... for me and my vision, that I would have not chosen that. But you know what? But they own it. They could do what they want.
It's that typical like spirit journey thing where like you have to go through this journey to find the thing that'll give you what you want. But like Kano's motivation was just like he doesn't like people saying that he's weak, And
but he got a laser eye from that. He didn't like
like-
get enlightenment, and it was kind of like one of those things where like I think it kind of tried to mash up the first two games in like really awkward sort of way, whereas the first game was like they should have just stuck with like the first game, which is this great sort of like Enter the Dragon sort of riff, and where they kind of normalize like the kung fu, and then they could have brought in the mystical stuff in the second one like they did in the games, and it would have been a lot better. For me, I just found that a little jarring, like the whole like how they just kind of threw the mystical elements in the. I mean, Kano even makes fun of the movie while we're watching the movie. He's like, "What am I going to get, Gandalf?" And you're just like, "Wow." I guess I kind of want. Somebody on Twitter said the best, where this seemed like a film birthed from the 90s. And like the character design seemed a little bit like very intense. Like they seemed like they kind of overdid it a little bit. And like Reptile making Reptile a physical reptile that knows kung fu, I thought was a little weird. Like, but like it was really weird because of all the characters in the film, I think the only one I cared about was Sonya Blade, which is the one person you don't care about in the game. You're like, she's the most annoying character there is, but she's like the one who really has to prove herself, fight Kano, actually earn her powers, and then go and fight in the tournament that we strangely never see, which is kind of sad. But I thought there were a lot of missed opportunities. I wanted more. I also didn't like the fact that they made up a character like this guy when we got Sub-Zero and we've got Scorpion. Like they just make up this guy who's our protagonist. I'm like, I want Sub-Zero, Scorpion. I ended up with Sonya Blade, and I'm okay with that. Sonya was great in it, and Tanabu Asano, who plays Raiden, was kind of wasted, which I wasn't crazy about. Yeah. But I guess for me, I was just a little frustrated, and it seemed to kind of like sag in the middle. Like the beginning's really good, the ending's really, really good, but the middle kind of when they're trying to figure out what they're going to do, they should have done montage after montage after montage. And I mean, I just wanted them to fight in there. But the weird thing is, we were talking about the violence, Master Pesina, is the fact that they actually went with the now video game violence, which was even more intense and more insane. And that was like the one part I was just like, wow, that's Mortal Kombat. Unlike when the first movie came out, everybody was flipping out because there was like only one drop of blood in it.
Yeah, this time they did good. I really enjoyed Kung Lao's hat mentality. It was really, really good. But other parts of that Kung Lao bit, I did not really enjoy or see what the point is, unless they're going to try to, it's just like they're trying too hard to reshape it.
Yeah.
Which happens a lot, but they forget, like us as fans, that we go to see this movie because we are the fan of it. We're not the fan of what their interpretation or their vision of the movie is. No, you should have the movie focused on what the fans like. Not that the movie was terrible, but it was kind of disappointing, kind of for me. Because I wanted to see like more action, because they did have some really cool actors in it that knew how to, that could mix it up. And it was just not, for me, I kept, after the first one, when I saw the first fight scene, I was like, oh my God, this is going to be so awesome. And then all of a sudden, when they had the Reptile one, I was like, what's going on? You know what I mean? And then it just kept, after that, it just kept, for me, falling short. I was really waiting for that Mortal Kombat Kung Fu, action type of thing. And it just didn't happen. And I know they say, oh, we're saving it for later, but no. When you, I don't want to mix apples and oranges, but when you watch a Marvel movie, they don't save anything for later.
Yeah.
They just, it's awesome. And then the next one, oh my God, it's better than awesome. You know what I mean?
They set the bar and they just keep breaking the bar.
Yeah, and even their DC series with Batman and Superman, I think they're doing pretty good on that. It's never, for me, it's always that action. They're doing superhero action, and it's always living up to that. But this seemed like they were like, oh, we have fans that will just pay money anyway, so we don't have to really have our best foot forward.
Also, the mythology of these guys is already so rich. Like they kind of made up their own, even though like we've got this really great like mythos like of Sub-Zero and Scorpion and all these characters, and they just kind of wrote another story, and they kind of wedged in there with another character, which was weird. Who I kept waiting for him to become Scorpion, and then he becomes somebody else.
Yeah, who knows what that was?
He got like the Black Panther suit that just absorbed kinetic energy every time you hit it, and then once he had enough, he got like 2 things. I'm like, what? That's not how it works.
Yeah,
That's
like
not how any of this works.
Confuzz?
Yeah.
That was
women's bracelets. I mean, it's
Yeah,
cool. But
yeah, he was just
that special power has already been done to more than once. So you should think of something like original like that. And like you said, when we finished, we were almost done with Mortal Kombat 2. Tobias spent a lot of time developing the story and things like that. Trying to get create the storyline for Mortal Kombat. So, they had already had that template. I don't understand why they wouldn't, why they need to vary it, or, who knows? Who knows?
Yeah, and I think Marvel, you talked about Marvel, and what Marvel did, what that was really good is when they started out the MCU, they kind of grounded it in reality. And then later on, they introduced magic and all that stuff with Doctor Strange. And after you had that grounding, you were more into allowing that stuff to exist in this world. Yeah. So if we would have had a movie of them just a raw Shaolin Kung Fu match tournament, and then finding out, oh, the people behind it are the people from Outworld, and then bringing that in, it would be totally night and day, doing it like a twist like that, rather than saying, okay, everybody gets magical powers after they get the crap beat out of them.
Yeah, the weird thing was well, there were a couple weird things that I want to talk about. First of all, the fact that Reptile could turn invisible, but killed no one while invisible. It's you're invisible, you should be able to at least take out 1 or 2 before they catch on and take you out.
I love Reptile too, and it was weird.
Yeah, especially since none of them had any fighting skills. Come on, no. Reptile is like a creature which spits acid, and you're hunting these humans who don't have any skill. Who really, the way they showed them, they didn't have any real kung fu skill. But for me, Dan, you had a really good, which I think would have fit, to show them how they had to fight other tournaments to get to that tournament. And how Raiden was maybe.
It could have been the Kumite.
They mentioned the 9 other tournaments so many times. I'm like, all right, but are we going to see the 9 other tournaments? Not even a quick montage of tournaments.
They did this thing where you would see they had trophies, they had the fan, and they would have different artifacts. I mean, they were trying to make it subtle, but I was I want maybe some flashbacks or something, because the first flashback was just amazing. That first battle was just that was worth the price of admission alone. That was great.
Yeah, I think that's, for me, that saved the whole movie, seeing that, because I was just it was good enough for me to pay attention with hope till the end to see more fights like that. Even the final fight with it was okay, but it really wasn't, compared to that first fight, it wasn't.
Now,
which is a big shame,
because
a lot of the cast could fight.
They had that woman with the wings, who's she's beautiful, and it's and no one was yeah, she is. They weren't it's she's beautiful, but moving on. I mean, I did appreciate the fun of her death when it was a flawless victory with a friggin' saw blade hat. That was kind of cool, but yeah.
MK, yeah, right there. That's the way to do it. Yeah, but like I said,
it was not good. She was the Slipknot in Suicide Squad. It was just to show you someone has to die. We have to prove we can really do some real Mortal Kombat fatality stuff. We'll give you someone no one virtually cares about and get it done. She was just there to die, and I felt so sorry for the beautiful lady who had to die. That was her role.
They could have had so much, potential for it, but no, I don't know. I don't really know what their end game is. What they're going for, because again, you put your best foot forward usually.
Yeah.
And this, for me, even though I'll see the second one, I won't pay a theater ticket to go see the second one. I would, if I was if I didn't get paid to go see this movie, I would have tried to go to the movie theater to see it, and pay the admission and go see it. But now that I have a taste of it like this, when the next one comes out, I'm not going to trust it. I'm not going to. I tried to stay away from the trailers. I saw a couple seconds of each one, but really I wanted to give the movie its own thing. And I, just from the little bit I saw, I was like, oh my God, this is going to be so cool. From just watching the trailers, I thought it was going to have more kung fu in it, or martial arts in it. But yes, I just don't. I'm kind of somebody.
I'm right there with you. Totally. Although I did give him points because they brought Cabal in, which is like seriously underrated character that I like. So it was weird who they brought in and who they didn't bring in, which was weird.
We got a few people in the chat room have some questions. Alex says, which character from Mortal Kombat 1 do you relate to the most? I guess the first game?
The first game I relate to the most is Johnny Cage, because not only relate, but he's the father of like all Mortal Kombat characters. I mean, we filmed for about 6-8 hour days before we presented it, like what we had to like even add. Like, so we didn't, it's just John and I were just trying to figure out what would work for this game. So we didn't even have anything for a programmer to look at. So it wasn't like, how people would imagine. So, think it's like, oh, this is cool. And you guys had a plan. No, we had no plan. The plan was just to kind of get together and try to create a little bit at a time and each obstacle to overcome each obstacle. So Johnny Cage was the first one. We created the whole pathway to the first game with Johnny Cage. So he is the one I would say I most relate to, even though I made Tobias changed the Japanese, one Japanese ninja into Lin Kuei, because originally there wasn't two ninjas. There's only, the one ninja. And I was like, John, we got to do the Lin Kuei. It's mysterious. He combines magic with, mysticism, with kung fu. It's going to be really good for a story, for what little story we had for the first one, which was basically all on the when you watch the screens, everybody had this little story, and that was it. But that was it. It wasn't. No other story was developed. But it was. So that's I like Cage for that reason.
Do you sew the sunglasses?
I don't have the sunglasses because John put them in a chair and someone sat on them.
Ah!
But it wasn't a big deal because I think we paid like $12 at a place called Sport Mart. So we went to Sport Mart and we actually bought Sonia's stuff from Sport Mart too. Some of Sonia's stuff from Sport Mart. But yeah, $12 sunglasses, not $500.
Well, I have to say, I also relate very closely to Johnny Cage because he's really good looking, and obviously so am I. So, that's the fighting skill, I'm a red belt. I'm not to his level, but, another question, though, was what is your full martial arts background, Daniel? Try to keep it short because I know it's like years and years worth. So
I started martial arts really, really young, 1969. So I studied judo at a time really quickly. I studied judo at a time where there was no kids classes. I got thrown in with the teen class, and I was only like 9 years old. So it was just at that time I got to work out like that, but I fell in love with the art, and I continued to study. Even when I'm on taking a vacation, I try to find time to do a little practicing. So a really, really long time.
You were in Turtles too, right?
Yeah, actually, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2: Secret of the Ooze, they recruited people at a tournament called Battle of Atlanta. So, and again, there you go. With this movie, they could have went to a tournament, and recruited people who actually knew martial arts, as opposed to just get some random actor who didn't really know martial arts, but gave him a superpower to overcome everything.
Well, I mean, like nowadays, like you even train people. Like you take Keanu Reeves, for example, who like trained like hardcore for like the Matrix films and for the John Wick stuff. And if an actor is willing to put in the time, you'll see it on screen, because like stunt people are talented enough to help them fake it. And it seems like they didn't go that hard. Like they didn't want to train that much. It just yeah.
I think part of it was COVID related, because Ludi Lin, who played Liu Kang, is professionally trained at martial arts. Joe Talcim, who plays Sub-Zero, is professionally trained.
Liu Kang was amazing in this. He was
he also is professionally trained at martial arts. I'm blanking on who else, but Louis Tran is also professionally trained at martial arts. So I don't understand why we have four of your main characters.
I don't think Raiden wasn't. That's Tanabu Asano. He's like a Japanese, like he did like Ichi the Killer and a bunch of weird stuff.
Yeah, they had people who could actually fight. Why not use them? I would maybe think maybe COVID, they didn't have the proper time to like maybe choreograph stunts and choreograph fight training together, and they were just like, look, we got to do what we got to do. I think that also explains why we had like 2 sets the entire movie, because COVID says we can only be in these 2 areas. But yeah, they had tons of people who are professionally trained at martial arts, and they just didn't use the talent that they did have already. So it was really sad to see.
Yeah, but that sounds more like greed then. You know, if you don't have the good product and you know that you have, we're talking about a $1 billion franchise, over $1 billion franchise. They could be like, hey, fans, we're postponing the movie for another 8 months because guess what? COVID stopped it, and we want to give you the best experience of Mortal Kombat ever.
Mm-hmm.
No, Warner Brothers was like, no, what? We could just take their money now and maybe we'll give them what they want on the 3rd one or the 5th one. Or the 10th one, because these guys will just buy the game anyway because they're fans, and I don't think that's right.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. It is sad because I was like, oh, I've seen Ludi Lin like in other things where he could showed off all his skills. On his Instagram, he does kicking Mondays, where he shows like a different type of kick you can do for different martial arts and stuff. So like he's been showing like, this is my skill, this is what I can do, and I'm like, oh, we're gonna get it, and I was like, we didn't get it yet. Is it coming? It's not gonna come. Like he did more in that episode of Black Mirror where he was like basically like the June from Tekken, and he did more combat there than he did in this film. And I was just like, but he's so good. And Joe Talcim is in Warrior, which is the show based off Bruce Lee's work. It's like, and he kicks so much ass there. I was like, okay, he's gonna do it. He's not gonna do it. Okay, it's just like I don't understand why nobody wants to do the thing that they're known for doing. So, but I've seen them kind of like still back the film, like say, "Oh, it's so great, and we had such a great time." And a part of me is like, "But don't you want to say like it was?"
Of course, they're going to say that. They're going to say that until about 3 months down the road, where they're going to like start dishing the tea out. They always do that.
Yeah.
Jay Reese in the comments says he's really disappointed they didn't stick with the original story. And Chimkin Nug says there was no Mortal Kim, just fighting. So
yeah, no Mortal Kombat, just fighting is what they're saying.
Yeah, it's like, I mean, for me, I enjoyed movies like Jean-Claude Van Damme has not had the most Oscar award-winning performances, but his fighting movies are fun. I mean,
Bloodsport.
He understands the assignment.
Yeah.
He understands the assignment. He comes and that's what he knows he's got to do.
I mean, yes, you get slow motion of him going for like half an hour.
He looks good doing it though.
With his legs spread out in, opposite directions, but it's a fun movie. It's fighting, and that is kind of what I wanted to see, more of that and less of, oh, I got a laser beam coming out of my eye.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So it's crazy because it is, like I said, and if you're a fan, you're, I know fans that are still hopeful for the second one. I just don't want to, I just don't want to be duped again. This kind of, with the, I remember in the 90s when I saw it, I was like, oh, well, they didn't have fatalities. Maybe they'll they promised fatalities and blood in the second one, but then all of a sudden, I don't know what the story was. They decided not to have a story, for me, being like kind of like that for me for watching the second one a long time ago. I was like, what the heck? I was like, okay, I think I saw that one movie once just because I just didn't understand what was going on.
I remember the arms didn't match up with the one character. And that was really weird. That was really jarring. It was like when they did the third Ninja Turtle movie and you could see the eyes and the masks, and that terrified me because the budgets had gotten so low at that point.
Oh, they didn't even care because they just knew like that stuff just scares me. I don't, for fans, I think in the end, not personally for me, but just for fans who really love the game, they're willing to pay for skins and to do that, and I think they should have been treated a little bit better, maybe.
I just looked up.
I agree. I'm gonna watch I'm gonna watch the next one too. I'm just hopeful that they figure out what they're gonna do and give us some actual like combat and some tournament in the next one.
Yeah. I just looked up the second of the original Mortal Kombat movies, and it was James Remar took the place of as Raiden instead of Christopher Lambert. And that was jarring. And the fact that they killed Johnny Cage right away, and it was just... I know some people here like that movie. I'm so sorry.
I don't dislike it. I mean, when I saw it I understood like they probably had to tone down the violence probably because of all the anti-violence going on with video games. And it was a hot commodity back then, and they wanted a PG-13 as well. Whereas the best thing I could say about this movie is it relishes in its R rating. It's violent, it's gory. I did not get a spinal rip. I wanted a spinal rip with Sub-Zero. I did not get that, but I did think the Scorpion Toasty was well done. I like how he went to like the skull and it kind of like faded back into his face. I really like that. The Kung Lao was like on point, and the Liu Kang dragon eating was also pretty badass as well.
Yeah, but then he ruined it by saying fatality, and I was like, why would you do that? Like, you didn't have to.
It's a little campy. I gave him a pass on that. I gave him a pass on that. I wanted to hear that. That was good.
No, but it was just not the time. Like, he was looking so stoic and like totally. I was like, yeah, or like own the moment. And he goes, fatality. It's like, oh, you just ruined it. Like, you could have just.
Yeah, plus it's Liu Kang. Liu Kang is that type of character not to say fatality.
Yeah.
He's like he is the hero. I mean, a lot of people are like, oh, this and that. But if you follow Mortal Kombat, like I know they mentioned, oh, Johnny Cage's not going to be in the first one because we need an Asian lead. I remember some interview or something like that. And I was like, no, dude, aren't you a fan of Mortal Kombat? Everybody knows that Liu Kang is the one he's the Luke Skywalker. He's the one who restores balance to the universe. He's the guy, deep descendant of Kung Lao. So it's, So he's the one who basically, is the hero. And he's, this Shaolin monk. Sorry, Shaolin monks wouldn't save flawless victory. They had probably a little more dry humor. I was gonna ask Master Pesina, if they came to you and asked you to like be in the second film or help out with the second film, would you want to, or are you too concerned that like they fucked up the first one and you don't want to be anywhere near it? Like, I don't want to be associated with anything that's gonna be bad. Or do you think you could save the film or save this franchise? Well, that's
money talks.
The tough part. That's the tough part because with the video game, like I'm a geek, but I'm not a programmer and I'm not a graphic artist or anything like that. But John asked me to help him with this thing because my expertise is martial arts. So unless anybody is willing to put aside let the martial artist guy do the martial arts, there's no reason to have somebody like on the, on helping out with the movie. So that would be like one of the major concerns being like, well, if I came up with something and then somebody else was like, no, we're not going to do that. Well, why not? Because, I don't think a martial artist does that. Well, how many years of experience in martial arts do you have to say that? Because that, when we were creating the game, that was like my job. My job was to sit with everybody and say, no, that won't work because we've already tried it and we need to pump this game out in 8 months. Two, all of us trained together before Mortal Kombat because basically we're all friends with John. So my thing too was like, oh, I've already done it that way. We have to change your kick a little bit so that way everybody doesn't look like the same. So, taking different ideas and helping the actors, help them create their character, and some of the stuff had to stay the same because it was a game, but to make it not look the same, it couldn't be just cookie cutter, So yeah, and basically that's what I'm saying is if they're not.
I think they would have benefited having someone like you there because I don't think there was anyone there vouching for the people who were actual trained martial artists and allowing them to use their skill set. And it seems like you would have been the perfect person to probably stick up for them. Like, no, I think they could do it, or we need more fights and let them use their talents. Like I said, a lot of people don't know that a lot of people who were cast were trained martial artists and they just never got their chance to show that they could do it.
Yeah, it just seemed like it was. Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, if they're charging that much money in your pocket, it's like, yes, I would like to be true to my martial arts, but I also want to be true to my bank account. But it's like if they said, hey, we want you to do a walk-on, Daniel, for the next movie, no matter how bad you think it is, if they give you, a chunk of money, I mean, I would do it. I would be there in the Dolph Lundgren sequel to He-Man, if they gave me enough money, I would be... There's money has a certain convincing power all its own. I'm not saying that they shouldn't have. They definitely should have listened to some of the martial artists, and and it was also kind of jarring seeing Jimmy Olsen kicking butt, because McCad Brooks, he was more well cast, I think, as Jax than Jimmy Olsen. He was too cool to be Jimmy Olsen, in my personal opinion, but yeah, I mean, all these actors, they're like, yeah, we want to come back for the next movie and get more money, so they're not going to badmouth it too much. Not unless, Joss Whedon was somehow involved, and then we're going to hear a lot. But,
yeah, Kyle, you're right. But my chunk of change would be really, really big.
You deserve it. You deserve it.
Well, too, because I realized, that I have, I'm on this interview saying this stuff. So for me to now overlook it, I just, at this state, not that I wouldn't before, but at this state in this time where it is right now, I would rather, not get the $50,000 to make an appearance on it, and have it, just like that. I mean,
let's say they said that we're going to strip it down and we're going to make more of a martial arts movie and focus on that rather than focus on the special effects, because I think that's where they got lost. They got lost in this pretty sort of CGI thing where they should have focused on like what the John Wick's movies did, and they succeeded at. They just made it about stunt dudes beating the crap out of other stunt dudes. People love that, and make it about the human story. That's what you needed to do. Maybe take out the magic.
Yeah, and don't kill any dogs, though.
Yeah, no.
That was weird.
Yeah, we got a question for everybody. Should the next Mortal Kombat film be an all-out violent comedy?
Oh, well, they already killed our comic Kano, so I don't know who's gonna do the comedy now.
Well, Johnny Cage could really be a funny guy.
Oh yeah.
I mean, that's true. We don't know who's playing him. I think it would be important to know who's playing Johnny Cage, because the characters we have now are all very serious. So we would definitely need somebody who's just gonna really hit home for us. But
I think that Kano's gonna come back.
Oh, with the cyborg part, yeah. Yeah,
because they did the cyborg arms on Jax, so they can save Kano and do that. So I really think that Kano will be back. I would be disappointed, and not that nobody's ever disappointed me, but I would be disappointed if they didn't see that apparent that's very apparent to bring Kano back. You know, I was already, you know, sorry people listening out there. I was always really, really disappointed that they killed that Kung Lao. You know, I was like, why?
Yeah.
Why do that? Just wait, you know, maybe kill him on 3 or, you know, or second. You know, I don't understand what the logic of having that in the first one, unless it was just an illusion, unless they're going to be like, oh, it was only a dream, it was a test. Oh, please don't do that, because this
Cole Young sips out of the shower.
Right?
Well,
he comes out of the shower.
Oh man, I had a weird.
I think they overpowered Sub-Zero a little bit, though. I think they like kind of amped him up a little too much, and then taking out Scorpion really kind of messed up the balance of like the scales with that whole thing of the fights and everything, because Sub-Zero just came in and wasted everybody every time he came in. Like nobody could even Kung Lao should have at least stood toe to toe with him, I think.
Yeah, I agree. And two, I think it would have been better if Scorpion and Sub-Zero were facing each other, but that is the point where the gods were like, hey, you guys are not supposed to be doing that, you know, and introduce some like some of the overlords or something like that to be like, everything now must stop. And then they can part their ways and they have their squads and they could show them starting to train a little bit, as opposed to right now, I wouldn't worry about going to look for Johnny Cage. I would worry about developing your martial arts skills, because you guys basically got, I don't even know how you guys won. So lucky. And you're going to go to this other world. You're not going to have luck.
Well, we got that great scene of just Scorpion just hiding in a corner of hell, just waiting for his moment. You know, just like, one of these days, I'm going to come back and I'm going to get you. I'm just like, did he really wait like 600 years? Like, now's the time I'm going to come back.
I mean, in the game, he like makes a deal and comes back like immediately. I mean, he could have been Racer
he was in
X.
A corner.
Like, he could have been there the whole time. Like, there's this mysterious guy, and they could have. I mean, and then if they wanted to, the one really funny thing they could do if they want to do the comedy thing, if they want to do the time jump like they do in the games, and Sonya and Johnny Cage get together and their daughter, and that whole business is hilarious.
Yeah, Cassie, and Jackie, yeah, that would be cool. But I just thought it was so funny. Like, why is he brooding in a corner just waiting for his moment in hell? And they're like, no one can find him. I'm like, but he's right there.
See, I was waiting for the guy to turn into Sub-Zero. Like, I thought, like, eventually, like, when he got pissed off enough or beat up enough, he was
they didn't show that.
He was going to turn into Sub-Zero. I thought that was the whole shtick of it. Like, that was going to be his, like, spirit animal or whatever. But no, like, they brought in, like, Scorpion from hell. I'm like, he should turn into Scorpion rather than Scorpion show up and save his butt the last minute. And then he's just, pawing at his wife the whole time while, like, Scorpion's, like, kicking Sub-Zero's butt. You're like, what's this guy doing over here?
Pawing at his wife. That raises some visuals.
Well, I mean, he freezes and kills everybody except for his wife and his kid. I mean, I kept on waiting. This is what I thought was going to happen. His wife and his kid were going to get killed by Sub-Zero, and then he was going to embody the spirit of Scorpion and then go on, like, a rampage. That's what should have happened.
The same thing was going to happen.
That would have been really dark and very Mortal Kombat-y.
Exactly!
Yes. That's a word.
Well,
like, the minute when you saw Sub-Zero, walk into that house, you're like, I was, like, sitting there to my wife, I was like, he's going to kill everybody. That dude's going to turn into Scorpion. He's going to put everybody to waste after this. This is going to get good. Yeah. And my wife turned around, like, an hour later. She's like, what did you say was going to happen? This dude's crying in the corner.
Yeah, they're like, oh, my God, it was so, they could, who knows? Who knows?
It was very kind of Sub-Zero to, not kill this family, but no problem killing the other family previously.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like, this time, no, we'll leave these ones. The other ones, kill them. This one,
we'll kill a 5-year-old boy, but, a 10-year-old
this 14-year-old.
No.
Yeah, that's fine. How kind of him.
Yeah, it just didn't.
It's not like he couldn't have taken their bodies and said, still use them as bait. Not that he actually knew before he jumped after him that they were there anyway. He could have been like, where's my family? Oh, well, they're back at your house, dead on the floor, where I left them, because I'm not a, funeral service. I'm not going to carry him around.
about Scorpion is vengeance. Like, that's the fire of vengeance. And I kept on waiting for that to kind of like spark in him. I mean, I'm a little too hardcore. I'm sorry.
No, I agree. It was not. It was just like he grabbed the digger thing his wife had with her blood on it, and then now he's ready to leave that corner of hell. I was like, that's it? Like, that's when he, like, come on now.
He summoned him like Pikachu. He like throws it down.
And throws it. I choose you, Scorpion. Scorpion. And then he goes, get over here. And everybody's like, ah.
He said, I won't get over here.
Yeah.
And he said it in English when he speaks Japanese.
Yeah, that was weird.
You know, it was purely fan service. I don't even know if, you know, how he would have learned English. You know, I guess maybe in hell he's got like the Pimsler approach, or, you know, he's got, you know.
In hell, everybody speaks English, I guess.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, he's been watching TV down in hell, and, you know, that's how he picks up English.
He watches Friends. He just watches Friends in hell. And
that's what they do.
So, how you doing? Yes.
Yeah.
There's no soup for you.
There ain't no soup up. He's watching Seinfeld down there. Ugh, hilarious. Did anybody notice that, like, at one point, Shang Tsung and Sub-Zero had, like, echoing when they talked, and then in another scene, they had no echoing when they talked? So it was like, what is going? Like, it was like they had like that voice disturber. It was like they had like echoing, like boom, like they had God sounding voices. Like,
yeah, and
Tara, and he's like, I'm not Bihan anymore. I'm Sub-Zero. And then later when they talked, it was just totally normal. I was like, what happened to the effect of their cool sounding voices? Where did it go? I don't know if it's because they were in their realm and they talk like that, and then when they're in our realm, they don't talk like that. But I was confused. I thought that was like maybe like bad editing or something, or like an oversight. But I noticed whoever's job that was.
You noticed. The sound design in that was other than that, the sound design in that was really good. Like, I was watching that in my home theater, and like my back was shaking every time they punched somebody in the face. Like, it was just like my subwoofer was getting a heavy workout with that film.
Yeah,
it looked pretty. It looked real pretty.
It was.
I think in the end, it's like what as you mentioned, it was just rushed. They just should have just.
It was.
They should not worry. For me, they should have not worried about it and just wait the 6 months, to get some more footage or whatever they had to do to straighten everything out. I think the fans would have waited if that's explained. Say, hey, COVID really kind of cut it this short, and we need another 3 months to finish this up, or 2 months, or 1 month, and then just fill in the gap to make you guys happy, because we want to make you guys happy.
Yeah, quality's always a good thing. I think we are about ready to wrap up. Dan, did you want to wrap us up? You are our fearless. Well, you and Yali are the fearless leaders.
Yeah.
I'm just sitting here doing tech and looking at, and I'm about to start up Bloodsport over on my other screen. But
yes,
get the taste out of my mouth.
I would just say finish him.
That's it.
Yeah, it was great. For me, I think we're in total agreement that it is a fan film, but they should have just spent a little bit more time on it. And I have hopes for the second one. Just please don't let me down. As far as I think, as far as that is.
Yeah, some of the writing is definitely fan film level, but.
Not the right fan, unfortunately. I think if they would have got some real die-hearted fans, maybe the script would have been.
That web series they did was excellent.
The web series was amazing.
Yeah, but that wasn't Warner Brothers. They shut it down because it wasn't sanctioned.
Yeah.
So there you go. It shows the mindset. I think, that. We careful that because fans will stick with you until they've had enough, and then once you lose them, you really lose them. So they're gonna have a second chance, and I think they should really do right.
I think without passion, why bother making the movie? I don't get the idea that anyone in this movie, on the writing side, on the upper levels, was passionate about it. They were like, let's just give them something that will bring them into a second movie, and we can make more money.
The MKU, the Mortal Kombat universe.
Right.
Yeah, and
People love universes now. Let's make another one.
and eventually maybe we'll cross it over with DC, and we'll have Batman.
Get an
versus...
Injustice.
Yeah.
Oh,
The Injustice game that has the Mortal Kombat people fighting at the same time. Love it. Love it, love it, love it.
Well, I mean, they did do the Batman and the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles together, so, you know, there's no reason they can't do Mortal Kombat and bring everybody, you know, Superman facing Raiden would be interesting. Magic would kick Superman's ass, so, you know, it's all good.
Yeah, but when they're doing the crosses like that, it's all about money and developers' ego. So nobody, I heard that they didn't want to have those people have a cross game because they didn't want nobody can you can't kill Batman or Superman. So they don't want that image of them because Mortal Kombat, you die.
yeah.
So I don't think they would want their franchises to have that, because then it'd be like, oh, Mortal Kombat's the best franchise.
It could be.
True. All right. Do we want to go around final comments and shameless, what I like to call, shameless plugging of your own stuff?
Oh, well, I have no shameless plug except keep watching Fandom Spotlight where we are. We got more panels coming, stuff horror related. The Bad Batch is coming up, one about Invincible on Amazon. So hopefully you guys are watching, stick around for more stuff. And I would like to thank Master Pesina for joining us. And hopefully I didn't make you uncomfortable about the comments about your eyes. But I just really have to get that off my spirit. That's my arcana. And honestly, I think this movie is if it comes on, watch it. I think that's the kind of film it's great for background noise. And if you like good looking people covered in baby oil, this is the film for you. So why if it comes on, just watch it. But I think at this point we just have to hold on that the goods are coming in the second one. I think that's all that we really can do. And if you don't look around for it, no one's judging you. Not a single person. So, yeah, that's my shameless plug.
Dan, why don't you take it next? We'll save Daniel for last, so we'll save the best for last.
Yes.
So.
Fair enough. I am Dan Tabor, Dan the Fan on Twitter, writing for Fandom Spotlight now, I write for Falker, write for Synapse, and I'm on Rotten Tomatoes. So I'm kind of all over the place.
And we are very happy to have you here at Fandom Spotlight. And I have to say, Yali, if I'm watching a movie where there's baby oil involved, it's usually more of a practical use for what they're doing.
Yeah.
We won't talk anymore about that because
right.
We don't want to.
There's a Mortal Kombat film like that with a lot of baby oil, but I could send it in the group chat later if anybody wants to.
But and Alex wants a Mortal Kombat sitcom. That would be interesting. And also extensive thanks to Master Pesina. And definitely keep watching the Fandom Spotlight channel. Go to fandomspotlight.com to read some amazing articles by Yali and Dan and Rachel and Aaron and our entire crew, Joseph. We have a great crew who's writing stuff. And then there's me trying to make videos. And also check out Toy Spotlight. And again, I want to thank Daniel so much for you joining us. I'm glad you could work it out. Why don't you tell people where they can look you up and where you're going to be appearing next and how they can pay you to watch movies,
Yeah, and again, thanks for having me. And I just want to say before we started recording, really thank you for you guys, because recently with COVID, I started streaming and stuff like that. And it's really difficult to do this stuff. A lot of people don't realize how difficult it is. And once you start doing it, you're going to realize that you guys saved a lot of lives during these COVID times, because we needed a place to tune in, and you guys streaming really gave us, just general people some place to tune in and kind of get some kind of normalcy in our social structure, you know, just because we've all been kind of quarantined. But thank you for that. But, you know, you can get me on Instagram at Master D Pesina, on Facebook, I'm Master Pesina. I have a Twitter channel, which I'm rarely on because I just don't write that well. But that's Master Pesina too. Twitch channel, Master D Pesina, where I'm actually right now I'm teaching, it's on Tuesday nights at 6:30 p.m. Central Time, where I am teaching Scorpion's weapon, the rope dart. So I show you how to make a practice one. You can tune in and kind of just watch me and a couple students, and one of them, she has never touched that weapon. So, you know, any mistake you think you would make, she is making live there, you know, when you and people just comment or kind of, or just watch along. So you're welcome to do that. I am also doing a fan film in the UK, a Mortal Kombat fan film in August. I fly out there for 20 days, and it's gonna be more related to the first game where Johnny Cage disappears, and it winds up that he's been in hiding in Europe, in England, on a farm in England, and the Black Dragon, Kano's Black Dragons find me, and it's going to be just fight scenes. Basically,
Sold.
A little bit of acting and a lot of just martial artists just fighting. You know, kind of what we do. Very little special effects, but it's going to come in August, called Legends Never Die. So if you tune into my stuff, I'm going to start posting stuff on it to let people know what's going on as far as that. But, you know, in the end, as I said, you know, we're here. We're all geeks. We're all gamers at heart. So if anybody ever wants to reach out and just leave a message, I'll get back to you eventually. So don't feel alone. Stay positive. We're all in this together. That's basically it.
I just gotta say, with the UK fan film for Mortal Kombat, is it going to be like, finish him, bloke? You know, is it going to be, you know, fatality, flawless victory, mate?
Oh my god.
From reading the script, it's kind of more serious and dark. It's going to be more like a dark Batman film than a campy Mortal Kombat film, because we don't have them. You know, they want to make it 30 minutes. So, you know, we're setting up the story and going right to the good stuff.
I'm in.
Sign me up.
I can't wait. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sign us up.
Looking forward to it. All right. Do you want me to walk us out of here, Dan, or?
Sure.
All right. Well, everyone out there and thank you for watching. And if we have brought some brightness to your day, we are very happy to do so. And I know that Master Pesina has brought brightness to all of our days. So again, thank you very much. You've seen our thoughts on the movie. By all means, leave in the comments your thoughts as well. Let us know what you thought of it. And we hope to see you next time. We have 2 live streams coming up this Wednesday. One is on cosplay, and one is our continuing series that just started last weekend on Howard the Duck, and we're calling it Defouling Howard the Duck for basically modern times to bring it back. So that's going to be a fun one. So yeah, be sure to subscribe on YouTube and follow us on Twitch and like us on Facebook and all that stuff. And
Instagram, Twitter.
I gotta watch the Howard the Duck one.
Yes.
Oh, I can't wait. I want them to talk about that love-making scene. So, like, that's all I want to hear.
Yeah, well, I gotta say, that actress, oh my.
Leah Thompson.
Leah Thompson, I mean, if I was Marty, I would have been very tempted. But anyway, we're not going to... Now that we got the incest out of the way, thanks for watching, everyone.
Thanks,
and
guys.
as always, have fun and follow your fandom.